I start a new job in Montreal in a month, but I don't yet have an apartment. So that's the next domino to fall in terms of putting my life back together. And that's what we're going to discuss today. And if we've never met before, hi, my name is Duncan Alderdice. And in these videos, I take a walk in the morning and talk through the thoughts I'm having as I try to put my life back together again. Awesome. Also, I shouldn't have got up so late today because the entire road's really busy. But that's a non sequitur from what I just said earlier. So, picking an apartment. This is a fun thing. And I'm going to approach it differently because every time I approach it in the past, it's just been like what fits the budget and then pick the first one that I'm in. And it's worked out pretty well for me. But I'm thinking more long term with this one. But there's a lot of parameters to consider. And there's a lot of options available within the Montreal area, but I got to figure out what the filters are of something that I'm actually looking for, because there's a lot, and it can get overwhelming. So we're gonna bant ourselves here. So first, budget is the first thing I'm thinking through. So I'm thinking for myself, be a 3.5. I want it to be somewhere in the range of, like, realistically, it'd be ideal if it was like less than 1,500, but kind of looking at the market, the realistic range is going to be closer to 1,500 to 1,900 total per month. And so when I say total, I include heating and Wi-Fi into that sort of thing. So that's kind of the range. Authority is me, so I don't really know whether authority necessarily means anything. But then we can skip to like the need. Well, I guess it would be more the location specifically. That's where the location is, and I don't know because Montreal's not specific enough of a location. The needs kind of determine, like they change, but like so. If I'm thinking through it loud, I want like needs. It's got to be, let's say, at least 500 square feet, ideally more than 600, but I don't know if that's realistic. So we'll say more than 500 square feet. It's got to be pet friendly because I have 2 cats. I'd like there to be a balcony, though the balcony is more just so that the cats can go outside. So it's not necessarily need to be a really nice balcony. Prime time ideal would be in-suite washer and dryer, because that would just be like turn laundry instead of being a task of like, okay, now I got to do this, having enough clothes to make it worth it, go downstairs, pay the $3 it takes to start, then not forget about it, and then do it. Like then you just procrastinate it. Whereas if I just had it in laundry, then I could just get it done quickly, which would be an improvement to the life. Kind of what else? What else would be actually go in it? It doesn't need to be furnished. Wouldn't need to be... Like everything else that I'm thinking about is coming down to the location. And what I mean by location is ideally it's a 5-minute walk from a metro. That's what I want. I would like there to be a Bixi stand close, which is the bike sort of thing, but that isn't necessarily as huge of a deal. But it's just more because Montreal's metro is so good that if you're a 5-minute walk to a metro, you're basically everywhere in the city. Like if you're right next to, then this only will make sense if you know, but if you're right next to Jean Talon, which is kind of on the northwest side of the mountain, and you're trying to get to Saint-Henri, which is where I would be working, then that technically is just like a 28-minute metro ride, even though it looks like it's really far away. Which 28 minutes is like, I mean, I'm getting the extreme, but that's just something that I'm thinking through. But okay, so I think the most important part to kind of narrow the search down is going to be the location and which borough, because where I was living before was in Côte Saint-Luc, which is it's technically outside of Montreal, like at least the greater Montreal metropolitan area. But what it certainly is not is, I mean, like it's not all the way in the West Island, but so Côte Saint-Luc is where I was. The problem with that is I was a 25-minute bus ride from the nearest metro, and that was annoying as shit. Fuck, is there another person? Bro, I'm losing my train of thought. Hold on, all I'm going to be thinking about is this other person. So, just 1 second. Very busy on the path today. I can only blame myself. I think I got up at 8:45. So, anyways, so back to what we were talking about is the location within Montreal. I was in Côte Saint-Luc. Nice to have explored that, but that was 25-minute bus ride from the nearest metro, and then that's another 10 minutes. Like, it was always like 45, 50 minutes to get downtown, and felt like a task. I couldn't naturally just join a club and feel like, oh yeah, I'll just pop home quick and then go to a club, or like there was always getting home had in my head what felt like, what realistically was an hour, because it was 45-minute in the commute time, but you could get on the metro and then get to the bus station and have to wait another 10 minutes because the other one didn't come in. So that sucked. What was nice about working downtown when I did at the job that I had was it got me to accidentally explore the downtown area and become more familiar with that, because it was off Peel and then off the McGill Metro. But so the new job I got is going to be based in Saint-Henri or Saint-Henri. And it seems like a nice area, but I think I want to separate my church with my state. That I want to separate the neighborhood or borough that I work in and can accidentally explore after work if I feel like it. I want to separate that from the place that I live, just so that they can be two different things mentally, as well as I know that the borough that I pick, or wherever you live, you're kind of adopt an identity of and make that sort of similar to where you want to be there to be a congruency. But so, I don't know. I'm thinking like, okay, so what boroughs are there? I know Côte Saint-Luc, but that's outside of it. There's Hampstead, that's Richie Rich. Jewish Richie Rich, I think. Where's that West Mountain? No, that's further. Hampstead is like right close to Côte Saint-Luc. Big houses, very nice houses. Like big houses. Like big houses that if you explore on Google Maps, sometimes they're blurred out because they don't want people to see how big their house is. Which, fair enough. Westmount. There would be closer to the Atwater kind of area. There is Saint-Henri, but we're going to kind of rule that one out. That's a bit more that. There's Griffintown, which I know is a very young working professional type neighborhood, but it's very recent and gentrified. Like, it doesn't have the Montreal charm of like older buildings, and kind of looks like people hate on it a lot. I haven't really explored it much. The one thing to think about though is that it would be like it's 10 to 15 minute walk from the nearest metro, and then I don't know. We're gonna go visit in a week, so see what that place would look like. And there's Ville-Marie, which is more just the downtown place. Shaughnessy Village, that's kind of more around the Concordia University place. There's some places there, but I feel like that's still too close to where I was. I want to be deeper into the city. I feel like as close to Berri-UQAM as I can. I'm saying things that, if you don't know what Montreal is, I'm saying words you don't even know. But it's okay. The Plateau is kind of on the west side of the mountain, past and up St. Laurent, a bit, where there's like kind of Mile End and that sort of area. Those areas seem nice, but they're much more what people would traditionally refer to as what Montreal housing looks like. The thing though is because they're very separate from the city, I feel like I would be. I want to become at this stage of my life, like I'm paying the rent and the increased rent, because I for sure could just be getting a room, well maybe not with my two cats, and paying closer to like $700 to $900. Like if I really looked and compromised on everything, but like I'm seeing this as like an investment into myself, like building a life, like be exposed to the potential to easily have new experiences with people and run into other people my age and like make friends. So it also is a bit Frencher the higher up into the plateau that you go, and nothing wrong with that, but it would be like I would like to have the exposure to the French language so I can improve it. But like, and I'm living in Quebec, so that like I think the area like predominantly bilingual rather than predominantly French and sometimes English. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a thought. Milton Park is an area that's closer to downtown, but I think that is kind of not colloquially referred to as the McGill student ghetto. And so, I mean, I can, if there's places available, can see, but would probably not want to be in the place that all the students are to the degree that I can. Just one second. Just because like I'm at a different life stage. I mean, you can't avoid the students altogether, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just is, it would be more ideal if the neighborhood that I was in equally as much wasn't like Côte Saint-Luc, which is far more very family friendly, and it seems very Eastern European. And I mean Eastern European in meaning, I think I've heard Russian, Ukrainian, Slovakian, or those languages, sounding languages, like those guys. It's not good, but I just did there. But that kind of we're just gonna stop on that. It doesn't sound French, Spanish, Italian, but that demographic isn't the same demographic as me, which is like ideally, and I probably can look up these stats to see what the things are, but like you don't want it to be a retiree population. I don't want to be living around a bunch of first year university students. Like that's different life stage. So I guess this is going to be a part one of a series, because tomorrow I will discuss what I found today. But so I guess takeaway is what I need to be doing by the end of the day is pick which borough I'm going to live in, kind of get a better criteria for what I'm looking for as far as the amenities and needs in the apartment. And one second. Needs in the apartment, and fuck, I hate that. It's my fault. I got up too early, and I need to get up earlier so that I can avoid all of the other people who are awake now. Borough needs, I think just more the borough would be, and then that's the thing, is getting specific demographics on which borough was to kind of make an educated guess, and then we can go from there. So yeah, this will be part one. There might be a part two. I don't know about a part three, but if you made it to the end, appreciate you watching to the end. And I know you know this already, but I'll say it again. Desire is what drives you forward. The pain you're going through is necessary. That is why you need to believe in yourself, because you're more capable of doing great things than you give yourself credit. Lean in, aim up, and move forward. Yes, you can. Yes, you will.